This is EIN TV, your one stop TV space for conversations around nature, societal issues, education, business, and innovation. EIN TV, educative, innovative, and nature centric.
All right, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to you from Uyo, Nigeria. This is Environmental Resort on EIN TV, and of course, a very special edition. Today on Environmental Resort, we will be marking the Mother Earth Day. And of course, we know that every 22nd of April has been earmarked the world over to be the day to celebrate the Mother Earth. And of course, it's a call to responsibility, a wake-up call to all of us to for us to get to do what we need to do. Because, like I always say, if we do not, take care of nature, if we do not do the right thing we should do, Mother Earth has a way of taking care of itself, and when it does, we will happen to be the victim. We talk about climate change, and we talk about everything that happens to see that we do not have a stable climate, and all of this are basically as a result of anthropogenic activities, as the activities of humans. And I would like to begin this program this way: that um, from the air we breathe to the water we drink, even up to the soil we grow our food, all of humans' health depends on the health of Mother Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the special edition of Environmental Resort on here TV. My name is Ediong Singing Ndonovo. Today on the show, I'll be introducing you as some very fantastic gentleman and lady, and these guys have, I don't know, they've contributed so much to see that we have a sustainable environment for everyone, and they've been doing some very fantastic job, so long the issue of sustainability is concerned. The first person I'm about to introduce to us is, this first, uh, and I don't know why I have to. I like being biased when it comes to issues pertaining to this lady's first stuff, but always, and all the time, I will find myself, still uh, making it happen. Trying to do the follow the lady's first mantra, even word to word and word for word. So the first person I'm about to introduce to us is none other than Jata Ekele. Jata is joining us from the UK, and I will join us from the UK, and I would like to read an abridged version of our profile. So permit me, if you see my face, switch between here and there, is just in a bit to see that I get the profile of Jata correctly, and I call her Madam Prof. Uh, Jata, you're welcome. Let me hear from you first before I get to read your brief, because I know you're already quite enthusiastic about this conversation. Hello, Jata. Can you hear me?
Yes, hello. Hello, Idyong. My boss. It's
I
good
greet
to
you
be on
especially.
the
So
show.
Jata is the knowledge management assistant with Climate and Sustainable Development Network, and she is a master's student currently in the UK studying agricultural sustainability and food security, if I get that right. And she is received so many awards. Before she left Nigeria, she was uh, an intern at the Federal Polytechnic Akanibiam in Ebonyi State. When it comes to the issue of environmental conservation and climate advocacy, she's been on the front row, and she's won award uh, both locally and internationally. I think sometime last year, Jata was one of the awardees of the that was being organized by PACJA, and I would love to, at some point in the course of this conversation, talk about the award or perhaps share more about Jeta's profile. But before we proceed, I'd just like to, ask Jeta this question, because a lot of people are taking this particular matter seriously. And the last time I checked, there was this photo that came out from the immigration headquarters in Abuja, and people were like, "Hey, these are people trying to jump back, trying to leave the country." So, Jata, how is UK today?
Very well, very well. The
Very
weather
well.
is
I
becoming
like
more
how you
friendly.
responded, very calm, and that's to say that UK is very well. And thank you so very much for sparing us your time to be on the show today. Now, the next person I would like to introduce to us is someone I call a friend and brother. I and someone that the last I checked, this man has traveled the world over, but he calls himself a local man and he's very humble. Ladies and gentlemen, the name is Musa Ibrahim. Then we like to call him Ibro Dollar. So maybe in the end, when we're done with this conversation, Ibro Dollar will be sharing some dollars with us, and I I hope mine will get across to me. Ibrahim is the uh, is a YDA with Climate and Sustainable Development Network, and his profile is quite deep. But I will see how to see how to make it very much abridged. He's been advocating for biodiversity conservation and ecosystem restoration, and of course the restoration of degraded land. And he is the if I get this right, he's a youth champion of the National Agency for Great Green Wall and Land Hero of the United Nations Convention to combat desertification. You would likely want to call him the land voice. Mr. Ibrahim Musa,
Voice
welcome
for
to the
land.
show.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to
It's
be
so
here.
good to have you too. These two are actually very dear to me. I get emotional talking to young people who are very passionate about the things they do, not because of the gains and not because of the immediate profit they see or they feel could come to them, but they sacrifice a whole lot to see that they are contributing their quota to combating the global crisis. And being that they're from the global south, which particular Africa is a part of it, and Africa in quote is contributing very minimal to the issues of climate change, but we tend to suffer more from its devastating effect. So when I see young people from this climb doing a whole lot of things in this regard, I become so emotional, and I want to say very big kudos to the two of you, Jata and Ibrahim Musa. So on today's edition of Environmental Research, do not forget it's a very special edition. I will be looking at the theme for this year's Mother Earth Day, and it's tagged investing in our planet. Investing in our planet. Musa's gone on, but he will be back in a GB. I understand that all of us, that the internet situation in Nigeria sometimes could be messy. I know the only person that will stay on this call will be my sister from the UK. So even if you get to see me, being yanked off, do not worry, I will come back in Nigeria. But that's by the way. We are talking about the investment in our planet being the theme for this year's Mother Earth Day. And I would just like to have a glimpse of their thoughts. So I will begin, while introducing, I started with the lady, but this time around, I would like to, start with the man, talking about the importance, the uniqueness of this, the theme for this year's Mother Earth Day. Ms. Ibrahim, what is your thought with regards to the theme of this year's Mother Earth Day? Please hold on. Jetta, can you hear him?
Yes, I can hear you loud
Okay,
and
please
clear.
go on, please.
You want me to go on? Hello, Idyang.
Yes, I can hear you.
Do you want me to go on before Ibrahim?
Please, Ibrahim, speak. If Jetta can hear you, please, you can speak. Give your opinion, please.
Ibro, check if you're on mute.
Hello, can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, I can hear you better, please. Thank you.
I'm so sorry I was muted. I never realized.
Okay.
Yeah, so thank you so much once again for inviting me to give my own youthful perspective on the subject matter today, which we are going to be talking more about Mother Earth Day and the significance it has. So basically, or apparently, what Earth Day started as far back as the 1970s. And it has existed and it has been celebrated since that period of time. And today, basically, we are faced with three major planetary crises: the crisis of climate change, the problem of biodiversity loss or habitat loss, and the problem of pollution and waste. These are serious issues that need serious priority to be put in place so that we can begin to have a clean, healthy, and sustainable environment. It is no doubt that today in our environment, from north to south, in relation to Nigeria, we are facing a lot of environmental damages. We are facing a lot of climate change impacts like flooding, like drought, like heat wave. This International Day, Mother Earth Day, give us young people, give us environmental enthusiasts the impetus and the courage to be able to promote and create awareness about sustainable lifestyle, about projects and interventions that are needed in this dear period to stir the environmental and climatic condition of our country and in the world at large. This also International Day, Mother Earth Day, is so crucial that it gives us the opportunity to bring about sustainable solutions that can help us, especially innovative ideas like climate smart agricultural processes that can help us improve yield, reduce food insecurity, and improve the livelihood as well as the nutritional prospect of people that are faced with climate change impacts. Today, there are a lot of reports saying that most areas in Nigeria are going to be facing flooding. Most local governments in Nigeria are going to be affected by flooding. This is a call for concern. This is an avenue where we need to discuss at length what are some of these causes of flooding, what are some of the activities or interventions that have been put in place. Are they really workable? If they are not workable, what other solutions can we put in place to solve the climatic crisis, the loss of biodiversity crisis, and the pollution and waste crisis? And if you ask me, a lot has been done, but it is not enough because the level of damage or loss we are facing in our environment is severe, and a lot of actions, a lot of awareness need to be made. That is why I'm particularly so happy with the theme of this year event, which is invest in our planet. Over the years, we have been investing in our planet by transiting or moving or phasing out fossil fuel, by going into sustainable agricultural practices, by discouraging deforestation, by discouraging wildlife poaching. But all these interventions that are being made are not enough. We need to amplify our voices the more. We need to be able to hold political leaders into account, and we need to do a lot. So this International Day is a right avenue, World Mother Earth Day, for us to promote the awareness and bring about sustainable solutions that will help to improve the quality of our environment. Thank you.
All your thought at this point, Ibrahim. We will get to engage more so that I know you're very eloquent, and then you, as a passionate person, you would have a whole lot to talk about. Let me get to you, Jetta. What is your thought? How significant it is that, especially to the female gender, how significant is this there to you people?
Very, very significant, I must say. Like my eloquent colleague has rightly said, it's an avenue, a day set aside to raise awareness about every environmental issue that affects our planet, that affects Mother Nature, from pollution. He mentioned the three crises we are facing right now: climate change, biodiversity loss, and pollution. We also have depletion of the ozone layer. We have desertification, and drought, different kinds of environmental issues. And talking about the female gender, or when it comes to gender sensitive issues, we all know that women, girls around the world are facing double, double challenges. They're facing climate change issues, and they're also facing gender inclined issues. You know that when it comes to water crisis, because when you talk about climate change issues, you talk about water crisis, from floodings to drying of the lakes and the rivers, and desertification, waters drying in water bodies, and also wells drying up in the northern part of several countries, even in the sub-Saharan Africa, like the northern states in Nigeria. I grew up in Zaria, and every Hamatan season we usually don't have water in our wells, and we have to go out to look for water. And it's the right duty, it's the domestic responsibility of the girls to go look for this water. And it's the time we're supposed to face, the time we're supposed to use to study our books, we have to spend those hours trekking along the road looking for this water. And there are some cultures in the country that the man only provides basic materials for food. He brings the rice, he brings the yam, he brings the cassava, and it's the responsibility of the woman to cater for any way, any method she wants to use to cook the food. And you find these women going into the forest, cutting down trees because they need to get firewood to cook. So we're talking about these issues, and it affects women, it affects girls all around the world in another dimension, especially in the global south. So this Mother Earth Day is a day we actually set aside to raise awareness, to sensitize the public about this issue that we're facing currently, and what we can do. We don't just talk about the problem. We want to provide solutions. We want to bring up solutions. Talking about the youth, those in the educational sector, how do they choose their courses? How do they choose their career choices? Is it sustainable? Is it something that will affect the environment? Are they going into coal mining? Are they going to fossil fuel or anything that has to degrade the environment? Or they should look for green jobs, solar systems and all of that. So these days is a day set aside to raise awareness to this issue and provide solutions to all the environmental issues we're facing across the world today, and how to leave the earth better than the way we met it for our children. Thank you.
Thank you. You've raised some very significant stuff there, and I'm happy I had to tilt that question to that direction. Because I know when we're talking about gender and it has to do with women, the whole truth and nothing but the truth will be said. So when I was trying to discuss with some friends about the topic of this engagement, and of course some people that are not aware of this day, the 22nd of April every year being marked as Mother Earth Day, what is it with the earth and all of those? And I tried educating them on the services of Mother Earth and the things that we benefit from the Mother Earth. And I just want to, that was why I opened this show with the quote I made earlier, that all of our beings, the water we drink, the air we breathe, the soil we plant our food and stuff, depends on, and all of our humanity depends on the health of Mother Earth. And if Mother Earth is not healthy, we, the people, the humans, even some other, organisms that are found within, would not survive. So I would like to stay with you, Jata. What are those services, for the people who may not, really know anything about the roles of Mother Earth? We talk about ecosystem services and all of those. What are those services? We just have to stay as simple as possible so that Ibrahim would also give his thought on this, because I know as a land hero, we will have a whole lot to say with regards to the services that Mother Earth provides to humanity. So Jata, what are your thoughts on the roles and the services you feel the Mother Earth provides for us, the people?
Frankly speaking, the services provided by Mother Earth to human beings are enormous. We can't list them all, but just to highlight a few, I would start by saying that of all the planets the 9 known planets in our galaxy, in the Milky Way, the Earth is the only planet that has life. And this is because of how nature has been for us, from all the gases that can be found here to breathe, and then the water that is here, and everything that has to do with having the biosphere on Earth has to do with nature. And the Earth is very, very interconnected, where one thing cannot just live on its own. No man is an isolate of himself. The oxygen you're breathing in was given out by the plants, and the carbon dioxide you're breathing out is taken by the plants. They need it, and then you need them too. So let me start from the fact that without Mother Earth, without nature in place, we would not be alive today. And then talking about the basic needs of every human being, first is food. Without Mother Nature, you will not have anything to eat. Talk about plants, the autotrophs, and then talk about animals. Then talk about those animals that can be found in the water, in the ocean, aquatic lives. Everything that you eat today comes from nature, and that is why we have the sole responsibility to protect nature. If you don't protect nature, nature fights you. Remember the incident of COVID-19 and how it came from, zoonotic viruses. It's because people were encroaching into nature. You don't just go into the bush and kill any animal that you see and start, we're talking about biodiversity loss. You don't just cut down every tree and then eat every animal you see in the ocean, every animal you see in the forest. You need to protect nature. You need to protect biodiversity. You need to embrace this nature as it is. And then another issue is about the pollution. From the food we eat to the water. Water comes from nature. Every water we drink, no matter how purified, came from the ocean or the sea or somewhere. It came from underground. The water level under the ground comes from, it's nature. And if we don't protect this water, it might dry up or become so polluted that it will be very difficult to refine. Is this what we want to leave for our children? Plastic bags everywhere under the soil, affecting the way plants grow. So everything we use today comes from nature, from food, water, soil. Yes, the plants that grow, the animals, and every genetic resources.
Thank you to our partners. Of course, you know that this is a special edition of the Environmental Resort on AIN-TV. So I would like to say a very thank you to our partners, the Blue Initiative for Sustainable Development, Climate and Sustainable Development Network of Nigeria, Pan-African Climate Justice Alliance. Thank you for your continuous partnership to see that we make this environmental pro-environment broadcast go out every week. We do not take your support for granted. Thank you indeed. And today we are hosting some very fantastic people that have done so much to see that Mother Earth is preserved, Mother Earth is conserved. And we have the Voice of Land, or I think that's what did I mix that? Mr. Ibrahim.
Voice for Land.
Voice for Land, yeah. Mr. Musa Ibrahim, and then we have Ekele Jata. Ekele Jata is joining us from the UK, while Musa, my brother, is joining us from Niger State here in Nigeria. And we do not take this time they spared to be a part of this conversation for granted. Thank you so very much, guys, for coming on board. So still staying on the question, Ibrahim, I will come over to you as a Voice for Land. I know you have a whole lot to share, but can you make it very brief, a bit succinct, so that we have to move to some other subject of concern? What do you think are those services, away from what Jata has shared? What are those services you feel that Mother Earth has provided for us, and without Mother Earth, there wouldn't be such services?
Okay, thank you so much. And I also appreciate Jata for giving that wonderful perspective. From the academic perspective, there are basically 4 ecosystem services, which are provisioning services regulating services, cultural services, and supportive services. And you mentioned while we started this space that from the food we eat, from the water we drink, and from the soil we grow our food, all are interlinked with the health of our planet. And I would like to say that so far, the ecosystem are giving us a lot for us to thrive and for us to survive. If you look at the provisioning aspect of the ecosystem, we have provision of food, provision of medicine, provision of other raw materials that are needed for human being to strive. But because of human or anthropogenic activity and the anthropocentric view of humans, this precious biodiversity, this precious mother earth has been thrown into jeopardy. Today, we are witnessing a lot of pollution, especially oil pollution, oil spillage in the Niger Delta or the southern part of Nigeria. This is unprecedented. This is uncalled for. Why did I say so? It is not only in that part of the world where oil is refined or where oil is where there's oil exploitation, but the way we just like the global biodiversity framework, we say ultimately that humans must live in harmony with nature. Whatever we are doing, that is why we have environmental impact assessment. Whatever we are doing must be in line with the sustainability of biodiversity, sustainability of our environment. Today, we are witnessing that our ozone layer is depleting at an alarming rate. We are seeing that our water bodies, our wetlands, our oceans are severely faced with plastic pollution. All this is a cause for concern that most of the services that our ecosystem provide for us, especially the regulating services, which has to do with the improvement or regulation of our climate, is being affected, is being fragmented, or is being perturbed. What did I mean by perturbed? It's being disturbed. Today, one of the basic service of our ecosystem is to sequester carbon, especially with the vegetation, whether savanna vegetation, forest vegetation, or even the wetlands. But because of this progressive decline in biodiversity, because of this progressive pollution and indiscriminate waste disposal, because of deforestation, because of wildlife poaching, because of indiscriminate use of herbicide and pesticide, we know that our pollinators are going into extinction. They have come to a status where they are critically endangered. So if we continue at this level, we are going to lose our biodiversity, we are going to lose our ecosystem. And when we lose it, we are going to have a decline in the successive ecosystem services that is meant for human and meant for the sustainability of our environment. This is a severe issue, and I believe Earth Day is providing a lot of visibility to this issue, and it's also bringing many people together to prefer interventions, meaningful, productive intervention that can help put our Earth in the right course of sustainability. Thank you.
Okay, Ibrahim, thank you so very much. Talking about carbon sequestration, and I remember you were joining this conversation from Niger State, and I know that there's been a lot of deforestation activities going on there as a result of people trying to produce charcoal for heating and all of those. What has been the situation over there? Can you just share briefly, say in 30 seconds, the update on the magnitude of deforestation that is ongoing on in Niger State?
Well, if you ask me, there is high level of deforestation here in Niger State, but it happens in the far forest areas where not everybody have access to. It is currently happening, and it is happening at a time where we are being faced with insecurity. But the government or the state government are trying their possible best to see that each household is supported with clean cooking options, and the awareness is fast growing, but it's not enough. And there is a lot of regulation in place, but the situation remains that if many people or if local people are going to do away with the utilization of charcoal for cooking, what other affordable alternative are there do they have so that they can be able to transit effectively from that polluting source of energy to non-polluting source or less polluting source of energy?
Okay, thank you, Ibrahim. I just need you to bring that to the fore so that anybody that will come across this conversation anytime anywhere would get to know exactly what is happening in Niger State. And we are talking about the conservation of Mother Earth, investing in our earth, in our planet, and people are already divesting. We talk about deforestation. So by deforesting the place, we are also divesting from nature instead of investing. And if we keep doing this, how do we, keep the place intact and of course sustainably for the next generation? Because when we talk about sustainable development, it's about the today, enjoying ourselves today, and allowing the people that will come after us to also want to enjoy and to also live for the people that will come after them. So when we cut down trees and we talking about the oil exploitation, we do not call oil exploration any longer. It is oil exploitation now in the Niger Delta. And recently I saw the federal government trying to put out a project as such in the north. I think Nasarawa to be precise, and I had to feel pity for what happened to the ecosystem over there, because we in the Niger Delta here, we know exactly what we are facing. The other time I was in a community in Delta State, and what I saw was quite it was an eyesore. And then about 2 years ago, I was in One, and the things that were happening there wasn't quite comfortable. But I know that with time, with the things we do, we want to trust that there will be changes. Now let's get to talk about the what we think, because I know in the course of this conversation you shared some very valuable thought, and in fact you've talked about what I'm about to ask already. But I just wanted to throw more light to the various traits you think are available, because I see this engagement to be sort of a climate education opportunity to the people that are joining us now and the ones that will get to watch this video later. So what are those traits to climate change, or trait of climate change? Let me put it this way. What are those traits of climate change to nature? Did you get that right? Who is going first? I just have to throw the dice now. Who is going first? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Brian, you want to try? You just want to share
Okay,
your
let
thought,
me.
please.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Let's talk
Well,
about the threats of climate change to nature, because I understand that nature is seriously being threatened, and of course is becoming even more worse than it has been in the previous years.
so yes, nature is also referred to our environment, the ecosystem that exists in our environment. And I would like to highlight two major threats the climate change is having on nature, looking at Nigeria as a case study. In Nigeria, we are facing multiple climatic challenges, and I would like to constrain it to just two, which is the problem of drought and the problem of flooding. In the northern part of Nigeria, especially in the fringes of Lake Chad and within Katsina and other parts of Nigeria, there is high level of intensity of drought in those areas, and it's affecting agriculture. It is affecting livelihood. It is affecting education. It's also affecting prosperity and economic balance. It's also fueling conflict and leading to forced migration. These are challenges. This particular impact of climate change is undermining the sustainable development goals. And it's so surprising that when I went to the Pan African Agency for the Great Greenwald Youth Caravan, while we're moving or having a tour across some of these sub-Saharan countries, West African countries particularly, I was so shocked to see so many livestock lying dead on the floor because of lack of vegetation for them to feed, because of lack of water, because of high intensity of the temperature, high intensity of the climatic condition. This is so sad because if this continue at this rate, the rate which we are going to be losing biodiversity is going to be exponential, and it's going to affect the quality of ecosystem services we are supposed to receive. Then let me take us back to the issue of flooding. More than 70% of Nigeria area, let me put it that way, Nigeria states are affected by flooding, especially the one that happened last 2022. It undermines the sustainable development that has been happening in those states. It also reduced the quality and uniqueness of ecosystem that are found within those areas. You agree with me that this flooding that happened few months ago has brought about more species being endangered or going into extinction. The quality of our biodiversity within those areas is poor. There is high level of diseases. There's high level of destruction of our ecosystem. Let's take an example of the wetland. The wetlands are known to be as the kidney of the earth. They are known to be a good abatement for flooding. But because these wetlands are degraded, because they are experiencing a lot of issues like pollution, like overuse and all that, you find that these wetlands that are supposed to provide this supportive service to the ecosystem are unable to provide their services because of human or anthropogenic activities. And when we lose these wetlands, or when these wetlands are washed away, you will find out that the quality of biodiversity or the diversity that exists within species is going to be lost. And also the ecosystem services are going to be lost as well. They are going to decline. So if this continue at this rate, it's going to affect human, and it's also going to bring about the occurrence of zoonosis, which my sister mentioned earlier. Zoonotic diseases are diseases that are transferred from animals to humans. When these environments are destroyed, when this flooding destroy a whole ecosystem, most of these organisms find their way into human or environment. And when they enter human food or human consume them, human become prone to zoonotic disease.
All right.
Thereby
Thank you,
undermining so
Ibrahim.
many factors of the ecosystem and all that.
I just like you to hold your thought there. Thank you so very much. Okay, so Jetta, over to you because we're running short of time, and I would like us to just be as fast as possible at this point to wrap our thoughts around these very critical issues. I want to twist the question a little bit from and then tweak it from what I had Ibrahim respond to. I want you now to take responsibility as human that you are. What are those things that we are doing as humans? Even if you just want to state them or list them, what are those things that we are doing as humans? Because I remember we had talked about the anthropogenic activities that are causing harm to nature. So what are those activities or the things you're doing that you think are hurting Mother Earth?
All right. Can I just, like, in 1 minute add to what
Yes, as much as you
my
can.
colleague was saying? Okay. Beside desertification and floods, in fact, when I talk about the flood statistics, over 6,000 households were displaced by the 2022 floods alone, displaced to where we don't know. And these were, economic causes, because when they are displaced, their livelihoods, everything, their houses, whatever they have built over the years to keep in that house were lost. And then over 600 deaths were linked to that 2022 floods. In the past 10 years, Nigeria has not had a flood like the one that happened last year. And this was as a result of climate change. Another example is that a majority of the crisis, the Fulani herdsmen crisis that is happening in Nigeria, is as a result of climate change. These Fulani herdsmen were keeping their cattle in the north. And when drought and desertification came, they had no grasses there, so they had to move down south. And when they moved down south, the farmers there that had the crops, there were clashes. And they had to, the cattle went into the farmlands, and they're now fighting and dragging for land in the south. But we have lands in the north. They're not that useful to the Fulani herdsmen because of the desertification that is caused by climate change. So what I'll just want to add is that climate change is causing lots of issues affecting us beside the environmental. It has environmental impact, it has economic impact, it has social impact on everyone. To your question about what we can do.
What we do as human, to
Yes.
promote climate change and of course to hurt nature, particularly Mother Earth in this instance.
Yes. So the first thing is that we must decide deliberately to live sustainably with nature and make sustainable choices. First, how much do we conserve water? Water is a very valuable resource by nature that we use every day. We utilize every day. How do we conserve and purify this water? I know there are a lot of industries. I grew up in Kaduna. There are a lot of industries in Kakui that are used to, giving out this industrial effluent into the river. And this is the river that people drink from. So how do we, like Ibrahim said, we have environmental impact assessment. How do we follow these protocols? How do we follow these guidelines? And how do we make those sustainable choices? One, how much do we conserve water? Two, how much do we use energy efficiency appliances in our houses? I remember in 2020 when I started my advocacy, I made so much advocacy on energy efficiency. People that still use these incandescent bulbs in their houses. Very little, but it's energy consuming. The one that is energy saving is quite a little bit more expensive, and people will be like, no, let's go for the other one that is cheaper and all of that. Energy efficiency and clean energy. How do you make these choices? And after that, we talk about reduce, reuse, and recycle. How do you say no to single-use plastics? Every time I shop here, in fact, with the way they sell bags here, you will want to go with your own shopping bag. You always go with your shopping bag. And some houses have these shopping bags for 2 years. They're still using the same shopping bag for 2 years. And we have, paper bags everywhere. Paper bags that I saw a picture of banana leaves used to do some wrappings and sell in a supermarket. I was like, that's wonderful. Say no to plastic, say no to single-use plastic, reduce, reuse, and recycle. Sustainable lifestyles. And talking about the youth, especially those in schools, how do you choose your career? Your career choices, are they green? Are they bringing solution to the environment? Or you want to go and do what do they call this, petroleum engineering for coal mining and crude oil extraction? Is that what you want to do? Just because there's money there? So we have to, young people, those in school, having career choices like me, I'm in food security and sustainable agriculture. I'm giving my life out to sustainable agriculture, learning these technologies, agri-tech. How do we bring that to Africa? And all of that. Choose sustainable careers, green jobs, promote them. And lastly, how do you create awareness in your own little way, in your own small zone, your social media handles? Most times,
okay, Jet, I think you've said a whole lot, and I would like to thank you, for staying true to service to nature, and of course for staying a part of the conservation of nature, particularly on food security. I know the fact that from your BSc to the masters you're currently pursuing, you're all out for nature, and I want to give a very big kudos to you. But we've said a whole lot with regards to the cause of climate change and all of those, and then we need to prefer solutions, and the theme is investing in our planet. What are those ways? How should the people, I don't know how to put the next how, but how do you, or what would you suggest should be the possible investment that people should start making? Because I want to believe that every day gives us an opportunity to invest into nature and of course into our planet. So let me stay with you, Jetta. What are those possible ways you think people or we as a people generally could invest in our planet?
Very, very quickly, I think it's linked to my previous point. When you go to make purchases, when you go to do your shopping, when you go to buy things, when I talk about recycling, we say when you recycling starts from when you're buying the product. The product you're buying, can it be recycled? Can it be reused? Do you think about this when you do your shopping? So that's how to invest. And you invest your time in sensitization activities. You can also volunteer. Find an organization that is climate inclined and give out 2 hours of your time in a week just to volunteer. You could volunteer virtually, you could volunteer physically. You could invest that. And when you have money for investment, businesses, invest your money in green businesses, invest your money in businesses that will bring solution to the environment, like recycling of plastics, or agri-tech and sustainable agriculture, or energy efficiency businesses, or anything that has to do that is green tech, that is sustainable. That's where you should invest your time, invest your resources, invest your money, invest your talking in things that are good for nature and the environment. Thank you.
Thank you, Jetta. I want to sincerely apologize for overshooting the time, but we get emotional when we talk about nature like this. This is a very special edition of Environmental Resort on AIN TV, and I have Ibrahim Musa as our guest, and of course Jetta Ekele as our guest too. And we are talking about the investing in our planet as the theme, being the theme for this year's Mother Earth that was being marked yesterday globally. And we are almost drawing the curtain, but I would like to say a very thank you to Blue Green Initiative for Sustainable Development, Climate and Sustainable Development Network of Nigeria, and Pan African Climate Justice Alliance, who's been a consistent partner to see that we roll out this, eco sustainability, and of course educative content every week. And then Ibrahim, let me get to you so that you will wrap your thought, because I just wanted to hit this one, just hit the nail on the head, so that we could get our final thoughts together and call it a day. Now Jetta just finished talking about possible ways we could invest in our planet, and by we I mean everybody. But I just want you now to wrap your thoughts around the nexus between investing in our planet and the youth. How critical are the youths and their roles and responsibility in investing in our planet?
Okay, thank you so much. Because we are out of time, let me just give a succinct reply or response to that question. Firstly, I would like to say that the protection and the conservation of our environment is a collective responsibility. Nobody has, we can't just attribute the responsibility to only the government. It cut across all corners. And I said once, and I'm saying it again, young people are not only leaders of tomorrow, but they are potential partners of today. With the inclusion of young people, we can tap from their ingenuity and provide plausible solutions to solve the environmental and climate crisis. Let me give a typical example of how young people can serve as a nexus to solving the environmental or climate problems we are facing today. Because if you don't build their capacity, if you don't bring them closer to interventions that has to do with environmental protection, we will have a generation in the future that will have little or nothing to offer in providing solutions to the climate crisis or environmental crisis. A good example is the National Agency for the Great Green Wall Youth Volunteer Program. This program is a program designed by youth and for the youth. This program is going to provide opportunities, robust opportunities for young people to be able to collaborate with the agency to provide solutions to solving the climate crisis. These young people are going to be engaged in afforestation and reforestation. They are going to be engaged in capacity development. They are also going to be engaged in renewable energy. They are also going to be engaged in all sorts of trainings and what have you, job creation and income creation. This is an avenue whereby young people who are not just leaders of today but potential partners of who are not just leaders of tomorrow but potential partners of today, we go closer to such kind of intervention so that they can learn, so that they can profile their talents and their skills to some of the environmental or climatic problem we are facing. And when these young people are involved, you will find out that there is a lot of progress that are going to be made because they are going to be adding their knowledge, their ingenuity, and young people are the demographic dividend of Africa, not just Nigeria. If you look at their population, is enormous. The working force or the labor force is enormous and it comprises of young people. So when young people are effectively engaged, we are going to solve the problem as quick as possible without any much hindrances.
All right, thank you very much, Ibrahim. We've spent a whole lot of time, having this conversation, and I would like to say very big thank you to you, Jetta and Ibrahim, for sparing us your time. But before we say our bye-byes, I would like you to, in 30 seconds, please. I will be counting the seconds. The time now will be very time conscious. I would just like you to, give your final thoughts, and then we call it a wrap. So let me begin with you, Jetta. Your final thought as we call it a wrap for tonight.
All right. My final thought is that everyone has a role to play in conserving the environment and in protecting nature. And your contribution, no matter how little, is very, very significant. So I'll be thanking my organization, Climate and Sustainable Development Network, for all of the opportunities they've given me, all of the privileges I've received thus far. And if you're a young person, please reach out to me if you want to volunteer or want to do something for the environment and you're looking for opportunities. Please reach out to me on Facebook, Twitter, anywhere, and we can see. Don't feel isolated. We are together, and it's better when we come together to to push the climate action fight forward. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Jetta. Thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for allowing me to keep you this long despite your very busy schedule. So Ibrahim, over to you. I would just like you to raise an advocacy because it did not be complete if we would not raise advocacy. To see that we sustain or we push for action with regards to the Mother Earth. So Ibrahim, please, 30 seconds, raise advocacy.
Okay, if I get you clearly, what are my suggestions?
Did you hear me?
Yes, I think I heard the first part of your question, but I didn't hear the last part. But just to wrap up our conversation, if you ask me, I think what we need to start doing now is converting or translating some of those words we have put on paper or on social media to action on the ground. We need to start doing a lot of work with cleanup. A lot of areas are unkept, they are dirty. We need to start doing a lot of cleanup so that we can improve the health of humans and other biodiversity. Secondly, we are faced with drought, we are faced with desertification. The best time to act is now. We need to go into large-scale land restoration so that we can stop seeing some of the undesirable effects of climate change that has led to so many challenges like the farmer-herdsmen clashes we are talking today. But when we restore our land, we restore our livelihood and we restore peace and prosperity for our planet. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you and thank you indeed. I would like to, thank you too, especially for, the time, and I would like to thank you for the deep thoughts. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us here on AIN TV, and thank you for coming on our platform. We do not take the time for granted, and we hope to have you guys again anytime we call upon you to, come here to talk with us. Thank you for that commitment. I would like to say a very big thank you to everyone who joined the call. Thank you to the very new persons that came on the call. I've seen someone join us from, I think, Jigawa, And then Tanshi, thank you for coming on the call. Thank you to Ibrahim Aliyu Sadiq. Thank you to everyone that I cannot mention your name. We sincerely do not take that for granted. And I want to, remind you that every day is Mother Earth Day. And every day that comes gives us an opportunity to invest in Mother Earth. And we should always take it seriously. Do not forget that nothing is too small for you to do. From desilting the gutter around you, from knowing how to separate your waste, from knowing how to dispose of your waste, all of those are investments. From avoiding bush burning, from avoiding deforestation, and of course, even as little as planting trees, which of course some could be economic trees that will be beneficial to you, and of course being a means of livelihood to you, is also they are all part of investing in our planet. And if we all come together to do this, and particularly with us, the young people, do not forget the old people. Their time will soon, elapse, and we will take over from them. So if you're taking over from them, we did not invest into the future. What then will be, what will be there for us to reap and enjoy? So, ladies and gentlemen, every day is Mother Earth Day. Do your very best to invest in Mother Earth and, of course, in our planet. And do not forget that from the air we breathe to the water we drink, even to the soil we plant our food, the whole of humanity's health depends on the health of Mother Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be the size of our show today. My name is Edion Singing and Dunobong, and from your Nigeria, I say bye.
This is ENTV, your one-stop